A group of teenagers were tormenting Dídac and were about to throw him into the lake. Just then, Alba happened to walk by and immediately rushed over to stop them, leaving her no choice but to take action. But while Alba and Dídac were both underwater, a terrifying disaster suddenly struck the earth. A red flash swept across everything, destroying the entire city in the blink of an eye. After regaining consciousness, Dídac hurried home with her. However, the sight before them left them completely frozen. The city had been burned to the ground. Panicking, the boy ran off to look for his mother, only to find her body buried beneath the rubble. With nowhere else to go, the two wandered around in despair and eventually decided to spend the night inside a cave. The next morning, they returned to Alba's house, but it had also completely collapsed. With no other choice, they moved into her father's farmhouse. Most of the electronic devices there no longer worked, but luckily, the solar-powered charger was still usable. Alba repeatedly tried calling her father, but she received no response. They decided to search for other survivors. However, even after traveling all across the city, they did not see a single person. Alba told her young companion that they needed to leave and head to Barcelona.
No funcione. No, 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 no! Alba!
The fall badly injured one side of her ribs. Unable to continue their journey, they were forced to return to the farmhouse. That night, Alba developed a high fever. After examining her injury, Dídac realized that the wound had become infected.
Necesito antibiotic.
Without hesitation, Dídac got dressed and left the farmhouse. By sunrise, he finally found what she needed and quickly gave her an injection. Sometime later, Dídac woke up from a nightmare.
Alba!
After noticing blood on the bedsheets, he thought something terrible had happened and immediately rode off to look for her. In reality, Alba was simply washing clothes by the river. When Dídac noticed the blood on her thigh, he worriedly asked what had happened. She explained that she was having her period.
No sé. Sit. ¿Qué faz?
As time passed, the two gradually learned how to adapt to their new lives.
Prostem aprenden a adaptarnos.
Years passed, and the weak little boy Alba once knew grew into a strong young man. The change did not escape her attention. She gradually realized that her feelings for her companion were no longer the same as before. Dídac also began looking at her in a different way. One afternoon, he stood on top of a water tank and used binoculars to survey the surrounding area. By then, his feelings for Alba had clearly begun to change.
Los mans.
Dídac stood silently watching her for a few seconds, before suddenly kissing her. That night, a violent storm unexpectedly swept through the area. Alba tried to protect their crops, but she was too late. The next morning, she was amazed to discover that Dídac had managed to repair the broken tractor.
Oh my God.
They packed their belongings and finally began their journey to Barcelona to search for her father. When they reached the city, Dídac repeatedly honked the tractor's horn, hoping the noise would attract the attention of any survivors. However, all they received in return was silence. Barcelona had become nothing more than a devastated wasteland, with no sign of life anywhere. They visited a famous football stadium that Dídac had always dreamed of entering when he was a child. Seeing how strong and grown-up he had become, distracted Alba so much that she accidentally dropped her phone. When night fell, the atmosphere between them became quiet and awkward. Neither of them could deny the attraction that had developed between them. Their kiss marked a turning point in their relationship, as the deep bond they had shared for years gradually turned into love.
I si nosaltres fóssim els primers?
Per tenir el nostre equip de futbol.
A few days later, they left Barcelona and began building a new life near the coast. Alba then surprised Dídac by announcing that she was pregnant. The news made him incredibly happy. In a world that had seemingly died, the child growing inside her became a symbol of hope and the beginning of a new generation of humanity. One night, she suddenly went into labor. After hours of pain and endless effort, Alba finally gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Kai. The following morning, Alba unexpectedly noticed a boat drifting near the shore. She soon discovered an unconscious man lying on the beach. After being rescued, the stranger explained how his journey had caused him to accidentally drift to their location. Although Dídac said nothing, the disapproval was clearly written across his face, and the stranger quickly noticed it. Because of this, the man refused to stay permanently. He only asked to remain for a few days while he repaired his boat. During his stay, the newcomer helped Alba and Dídac improve many of their survival skills. He appeared knowledgeable and friendly, but Dídac could not shake the feeling that something about him was not right. One morning, the man secretly stood nearby and watched Alba.
Hey!
Només portava mel per ella. M'he adonat que l'Alba pateix quan dona el pit al nen. Si te n'hi poses no se't clivellaran.
Oh, gràcies.
His explanation gradually caused Alba to lower her guard, while Dídac remained cautious and suspicious. Not long afterward, the man invited the whole family to a small dinner party on his boat that evening. During the meal, he suggested that they spend the night on board. Dídac immediately objected, but Alba was eager to experience what it felt like to spend a night drifting at sea. The next morning, Dídac woke up and quickly realized that something was wrong.
Alba! Alba!
Dídac!
Espera! Espera!
Alba and Dídac were lucky enough to survive and make their way back to land, but the boat had disappeared with their baby. With no other choice, they returned home in complete despair. The young couple could only sit by the shore and stare out at the sea, hoping the stranger would change his mind and bring Kai back. But all they received in return was the silence of the ocean. The following day, the two went to an abandoned library to search for information about the island the man had once mentioned. Alba suddenly remembered the jar of honey the kidnapper had given them. After searching through several books, they finally identified the type of flower the honey came from. They were gradually able to work out the location of the island. The next morning, the young couple immediately set off to find their son. After arriving on the island, they suddenly heard Kai crying. They waited until the kidnapper had left before rushing inside to search for their child. However, none of the keys they found could unlock the door. Alba returned to tell Dídac what had happened.
Hem de rebentar el candau.
Amb això.
Corre!
But the sound of her son crying distracted her. Dídac appeared soon afterward, but the man quickly overpowered him as well.
Tard o d'hora ens hauríem barallat.
Alba begged to be allowed to breastfeed her baby. The stranger kept staring at her, making her extremely uncomfortable.
Deixa-ho córrer.
Filla mai no serà teva.
However, he had no idea that the young mother was secretly planning to escape with her son. Meanwhile, the kidnapper stayed behind and tortured Dídac with a pair of pliers. The unbearable pain gradually caused him to lose consciousness. The man then began searching for Alba and the baby. He followed the sound of the child crying. Only to discover that it was actually coming from a mobile phone. At the same time, Alba quickly returned with Kai to rescue Dídac.
No sé si l'he despistat.
Posa el nen al cabàs. T'he dit que no fessis cap bestiesa.
Dídac rushed forward to protect his partner. But the kidnapper pulled the trigger and shot him. Dídac knew that he was not going to survive. Several years later, Alba and Kai returned to live in their old home. She held her son close as they watched the videos she had recorded of Dídac. And that is where the movie ends. Thank you for watching until the end. Goodbye, and I will see you again in the next video.